welcome or welcome back to 4F Beauty. When will I be YouTube famous? I don't know. I really don't know. What I do know though is I've got a very bright pink and purple look going on today. How did you achieve that, I hear you ask? It was with this. Now this is the new I Heart Revolution chocolate bar palette in shade Violet. So, if you want to see how I achieved this look, including an uber bright wing and lashes to match my lips, then my dear, you're in exactly the right place. Because here it comes. Hey, welcome back from the intro. The reason I keep looking down is because I've just done swatches for you, which I can insert in just a moment. I'm just wiping that off my arm because I know what I'm like, otherwise I'll get it all over this top. And for once, I've actually got coaty all over my top, but that's not surprising. Palette I'm using today is the new I Heart Revolution Violet palette. Now, anybody who knows me knows my favourite colour is purple, so it was a bit of a no-brainer that I was going to buy this. Same design as the other ones with the melted chocolate, and of course this one is violet coloured. The usual plastic protector sheet, but this time with no names on it because, hallelujah, big mirror, but the names are actually under the shades. I much prefer that. I'd rather have that than one of those silly sponge tipped applicator thingies that you normally get in them. So that makes me happy. Right, I'm going to put a picture up here now of the swatches that I've just done. Top row going from left to right from my wrist to my elbow is Prevail, Pastime, Levity, Conjure, Idolise, Amethyst, Vitalise, Wine and Revive. And then the second row, again left to right, wrist to elbow, is Cultivate, Violacious, Praise, Desired, Vaudeville, Curfew, Mulberry, Forsaken and Expedite. And I'm back. Hi. Right, as you can see, to speed things up a bit, I've already got my base done. I used the Very Vegan HD foundation by W7. I really like that. Not a new concealer, but new to me. I finally picked up a Maybelline Fit Me in shade, come on camera, 05. As always, set it with my coatie. Used my Winky Lux Coffee Bronzer, Life's a Peach Blush. What else have I used today? My L'Oreal Brow Expert in Cool Brunette. And I set it with this Barry M Take a Brow Shape and Define Gel. The main difference between this and the brow mascara, when you buy a brow mascara, it has a standard length mascara wand. But this Take a Brow from Barry M, as you can see, has got a much shorter bristles, so I kind of feel like you have more control with this one than this one. But of course the benefit, you kind of have to weigh up the pros and cons, because obviously with the longer normal mascara wand you can then use it on your lashes. I mean, you could use this on your lashes as well, but it's going to take you longer because it's a shorter one. And I'm blithering. Hi. Right, let's get it started in here. Let's zoom you in. There we go. Now, as I always say, colours, although I have set my base, I don't use a separate eyelid primer. I've just carried my foundation, concealer and setting powder across my eyes because I've got oily combo skin, and I find that that holds shadow for me absolutely fine. If you've got really, really oily eyelids or really, really dry, you may find that a primer is better for you. But the way I see it, if I don't have to buy something else, then I'm not going to buy something else. But, as I always do say, shadows from the same palette do blend better on themselves. And as Prevail here, just trying to actually see, here we go, that one, is, you know, cream, which is kind of my skin tone colour before I put bronzer and stuff over the top. I'm just going to sweep that from lashes to brow, and oh my word, that has some kick up. So just make sure you tap off before you apply to your lids. So, and it's not a waste, because when you go back in, you just pick up the excess that was laying on the top. So I don't mind kick up in the pan so long as it blends well, and you know, if you tap off and you don't get a huge amount of fallout, yeah, doesn't worry me at all. It's not a subculture issue, thank goodness. How's your day been so far? Is it a good one? I hope it has. Or I hope it's going to be if you're at the start of your day. Now, when I look straight ahead, you can see all of my mobile lid, so I don't have hooded eyes. If you don't see that, you've either got a half or a full hooded lid. You can still follow my tutorial. All you need to do is get like a thin pencil brush or a liner brush, and with your eye open, just sketch out where you would need your crease to be. I've got very deep set eyes, which means I've got a nice lot of space between my sort of eye socket and brow, so I've got a lot of space to play with, so I'm going to go in with quite a fluffy brush. If you've not got as much space, or if you've had to move your crease up, you might want to start with a slightly smaller brush, but you do need a nice loose fluffy one to start with. Now, purples, blues and to a certain extent reds are the most difficult colours to formulate without them being scrappy or clumpy or patchy or difficult to blend out. So if there is a purple in a palette or a blue or a red, I do tend to use them because it gives me an indication that, you know, if they can get those matte shadows working well, then, you know, things like your neutral browns and stuff should be really easy, because brown is one of the easiest shadows to blend. And this one, of course, being the violet palette, has got quite a bit of purples and plums and reds. So I've got a lot to choose from, which is pretty damn awesome, has to be said. So I'm going to start off with this fluffy brush. I'm going to go into Past Time, which is a cool taupey kind of colour. I'm just going to windscreen wiper that through my crease. Now for me, because my eyes are quite deep set, I can literally just follow the shape of my eyeball, but obviously, you know, you take it to wherever your crease needs to be. And because I'm that bit older and because I've lost a lot of weight over the years, the skin on my eyelids moves, so you do get gaps like this. But the next stage will sort that out, because we're now going to do twirly whirlies. So I'm holding the brush right at the end to put as little pressure as possible on my eyelid, starting at the outside corner, and I'm just going to gently twirl until I get to the middle, and then lift the brush up slightly and reverse the direction of the twirl. And I'm going to keep doing that to blend the colour up. Now I normally go to about 5 or 6 mils, or about a brush width below the lowest part of my brow, but you take yours however high you want. I don't advise going right up to the brow unless, you know, you're using a skin toned one. Like for me, that would be Prevail. Obviously if you're a deeper skin tone, you'd need a deeper colour to start off with, because I do like to pop a little bit of highlight just under the tail of the brow. It kind of makes the brow look lifted, which gives you a more youthful appearance. apparently. I don't understand the science behind it, but apparently it works. And as we all know, I'm a bit of a fan of the glow. Because being oily combo, I tend to do matte everything. I'd love to be able to. The only sort of semi-dewy foundation that works on me is the Too Faced Peach Perfect, which is like a demi-matte. That's the only kind of dewy foundation that works on me. So because I have to have a very matte base to my skin, I like to add glow back in, because as you get older, completely matte looks aren't really very flattering. They do tend to emphasise any fine lines you've got, or dry, if you've got dry patches, because mine's oily combo, so my T-zone is very oily. I struggle to keep foundation on my nose, my chin, and the centre part of my forehead, but my temples, my cheeks here and my under eyes are actually quite dry. So it's quite difficult sometimes to strike a happy medium. If I get one that moisturises the dry parts of my skin, there's no foundation on my nose at the end of the night. And if I get one that stays on my nose, then it tends to, if I'm not careful, it can cling to dry patches. So yeah, all in good fun, eh? As you can see what I mean while I'm chatting. That's blended out absolutely fine. I'm just using my colour switch here, partly to tap the powder off in, but also to clean the brush in between shadows, because I'm now going to use the same brush, but I'm going to start to introduce a bit of colour. And I think I'm going to go in with one of these two. And I can't decide which one. That one's got a bit more of a sheen to it. So I think I might go in with the Desired to start with, which is a really beautiful purple. It's actually pretty much the colour that my wedding dress was. So as you can tell, that's kind of a favourite colour of mine. So we're going to repeat what we did before. Just windscreen wiper it first to, set our baseline. Sorry, I'm having one of those mornings. It's really hot. It's only 9 o'clock. It's already sweltering, so I'm kind of going a little bit stir crazy already. So I'm going to repeat what I did before with the twirling, but I'm not going to take it as high up the eye this time. I'm just going to kind of concentrate it sort of just on that, just above my crease line. I'm just going to gently blend backwards and forwards. Make sure I've got no gaps. I mean, that is actually, for a purple, that's blending out really nicely. You could see it was a wee bit patchy just there when I did the windscreen wipers, but now I'm twirling it and making sure that all the skin is actually getting covered. It's actually blending quite nicely. It doesn't appear to be sort of grabbing and then refusing to blend. There's no real, not that I can see anyway, in my mirror and in my viewfinder. Obviously, I say this sometimes, and then when I'm editing it later, because this is an HD camera, God help me, I do sometimes see stuff in there and I'm just thinking, okay, well that makes me sound like a bit of a pillock. So I'm now going to repeat the same thing on this side. Now this is the eye that I'm blind in, and it got pulled around an awful lot when I was a kid by the ophthalmic hospital. So you can see there's a lot more creasing on this eye. But fortunately I can actually close this one, which means I can at least blend it out more, because the thing is, if I close this eye I can't actually see what I'm doing, which in some respects is good for this, because then at least you see two different ways of applying, for example, eyeliner. Because with this eye I apply it with the eye open, and with this one I apply it with the eye shut. So it does at least show you two different techniques for applying your makeup. So I'm going to view that as a positive. Out of interest, and if you want to, in the comment box down there, if you've got something which is a challenge, so obviously being blind in one eye is a challenge, but it's given you an added benefit. So say for example you have hearing problems but you've learned sign language, and you've now got, I don't know, cochlear implants. You can now hear pretty much as well as anybody else, but you have the benefit of having learned sign language, so you can still communicate with people who don't have the implants. So if you've got a challenge that you've faced, which by learning to overcome it, you've either learned a new skill or you have a benefit. So like with me, when I'm doing tutorials, you get to see two different ways of applying the makeup. Just let me know in the comments box. I'll be interested to read it and learn a little bit more about you, because obviously I chat away here to my camera, all by myself in my kitchen, and it'd be interesting to find out a little bit more about who's watching me. Only if you want to, of course. You don't have to share the information. That's actually blended really nice. I'm just going to take all the purple off by using a colour switch, and I'm just going to go back into Past Time, which is the taupe, and just where the two colours meet, I'm just going to blend over there just to slightly deepen that taupe up, because obviously I've gone in a little bit darker with the next colour than I was intending. So I'm just going to deepen that taupe and just make sure I've got a good blend between the two. So this is the benefit with makeup. There's no such thing as a mistake. You just have a happy accident, which means you try a different look. And if at the end of the day you don't like it, that's what makeup wipes are for. Take it off, start again. Your face is your canvas, and you create whatever picture on it you want. And don't you let anybody tell you different. If you decide you want to wear neon pink on one eye and neon blue on the other, if you've got the cojones to walk out the street like that, knowing you look good, then you do that. You do you, boo. Right, I'm going to go in with a pencil brush next, because my lashes on the outside edge here curl up quite a bit, so I do struggle, if I'm using a round brush, to actually get colour right close to my lashes. So I tend to use a pencil brush just to deepen the corner, and then I'll be going in with a slightly more tapered brush to blend the darker colour through my crease. But so far I'm liking the way this has blended out, because as I said, purples are not the easiest of colour. I'm going to go into, I don't know if Curfew is going to be dark enough after putting that decide down. Let's try Curfew and just see if it'll be a deep enough. If not, I can always go over it with a different one. I love playing with makeup, it's such fun. So you can just be so creative with it, and every day you can look a little bit different, which is great, especially if you've got to wear a uniform or something to work. Every day you can, even if it's just wearing a different colour lipstick, you can look that little bit different every day and still have individuality, even though you're wearing a uniform. So I'm just going to waggle that through my crease, and then gently buff that corner. Just to... I know I've got my eyes shut, I can't see what I'm doing, I'm just relying on muscle memory. This could go terribly wrong, darling. Oh no, not too bad. Wee bit of aggressive fallout there where I was a little bit over enthusiastic with my blending. But let's add a wee bit more onto the brush. And I'm tilting my head back this time because I don't want to go above the crease at all. I just want to blend along the crease because I still want to be able to see the brilliant purple and the taupe that I've already put down. So I don't want to cover it up too much. But I just want to add a little bit of depth and a little bit of gradients to the look. This one is a little bit more difficult to blend, but it is like a satin formula, so it's not designed to be buffed through a crease like this, but I like breaking the makeup rules. You know, I've done a look with an all shimmer palette before now, so don't tell me I can't use shimmers in my crease, because I will do it anyway. I've got no idea what that accent was. If anybody got a clue, can you let me know? I very randomly dip in and out of different accents. No idea why. Just part of my personality, I suppose. Sorry I've had to have this fan on all this time, but it really is hot, and if I don't have it on, this makeup's going to be melted off before I even get halfway through, which would kind of defeat the object, really, wouldn't it? Right, let's repeat the process with... Oh, I didn't tap off, I'm going to get fall out if I'm not careful. Yeah. See, that's why you always tap off. Right. Add some more of that on here. I do quite like this colour, this curfew. Do kids even have curfews nowadays? When I was a kid growing up, pre-mobile phones, it was as soon as the street lights come on, you've got to come home. But I suppose it's different times, isn't it? I suppose the other difference being is that I could name pretty much every person from where I live on the road right down to the other end of the road, and a fair bit. I mean, there's like 400 houses in this road, but I knew kind of the sort of the 20 or so between me and the end of the road, and I knew sort of 10 or 11 that way as well, so I'd be hard pushed to tell you anybody's name now. But I guess that's the way the world's going, isn't it? Yeah. It's sad when I think back to, when I was growing up in the 80s, pre-mobiles and everything, it's like, if you misbehaved and you got seen by a neighbour, they'd give you a clip round the ear as much as your mum would. It would be a case of, just you wait till I tell your mother what you've just said. So you couldn't get away with anything. But, times change, I suppose. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, now I'm disabled, I wouldn't go anywhere without my mobile in case I need to ring someone for help. But, when I was younger, I didn't have a mobile until I was 27. Was it 27? No, 23 when I got my mobile. Yeah, 23. And that was a Nokia 1610. And you could do hands-free calling because you could rest it on your shoulder and just lift your shoulder slightly and it would sit there. It's such a brick. Brilliant. Battery used to last a week. And it had Snake on it as a game. I still love playing that game. What was your first ever mobile that you had? Do you miss it? I can still remember my first ever mobile number as well. That's quite scary. Struggle remembering my current one, but I can still remember the first one. Like you can see, this is actually, for a purple, these are blending so nicely. I am really, really impressed with this. I don't know why I'm surprised. I mean, there's only, I think there's only one palette of the out of the whole Revolution brands that I wasn't overly keen on, and that was the Fortune Favours the Brave. I just, no matter what I tried, I just could not get that palette to work for me. I've still got it though, so if you want to see me try and do a look with it, let me know and I'll dig it out. But I don't know why, I felt so inspired when I saw the pictures of it, and then I got it and I'm like, But this is really nice. Curfew is ever so slightly starting to go a wee bit hard pan. Obviously it's got a lot of oils in it because it is the shimmer, or semi-shimmer, satin. So you're going to need to use that with quite a dense brush, because if you use a finer brush, when it goes hard pan, you won't pick any colour up. Right, I'm going to use this nice flat brush now, and I'm going to pick up Mulberry on the bottom row, which actually is the colour of a nice Merlot. And I'm just going to wiggle that just under my bottom lashes, going about 2/3 of the way along my lower lash line. And I should do the same on this side. Now with this side I always flinch a bit because where I'm blinding it, I'm never quite sure if I'm going to poke myself in the eye or not. See, flinching, terrible, I really am. I think after all these years I'll be used to it, wouldn't you? That's a really nice strong colour. Now I'm going to go in with a sort of packer style brush. Hello, there. This sort of shape. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of Forsaken. Do not forsake me, oh my darling. And just pick up a little bit of that just on the very tip of the bristles. And I'm going to smudge that very gently, little tiny windscreen wiper movements backwards and forwards, just to smoke out that mulberry that I just put down, just to soften the line a little bit. And then obviously repeat on this eye. I don't like to speed my tutorials up or do one eye off camera because that used to wind me up when I was first watching tutorials, because I'd watch it and think, oh, she can create that look in 20 minutes, and then you think, well no, because she's speeded it up and then she's done the other eye off camera and she's done this off camera, and yeah, so I mean it won't take you the entirety of the video because you're not going to be sitting there talking to somebody else. And also there's the intro and the outro that I do. I like that. I might add a little bit more. I might pick up a little bit of praise just for the outside corner there, just to deepen that ever so slightly. Yeah. Yeah, that looks better. Just that little bit of extra depth there. And now, I'm dying to use this shade, I'm going to go into Amethyst. Now I'm going to put it on initially on a dry brush, just to see exactly what sort of payoff it gives, and then I will try again when I wet the brush. But I always like to go in first with a dry brush just to see the sort of payoff you can get from it. because sometimes it is nice to have a slightly more subtle look, particularly if you're going to work, and then you can kind of, you know, just sort of move it up for the evening when you finish work. But that actually, it's gone on really nicely. I'm not even sure that needs to go on wet, to be honest. That's really nice. Look at the glow. I am, quite frankly, my ghast is flabbered. My granddad used to say that. I'm flabbergasted, my ghast is flabbered. I miss my granddad. There's a lot of people I've missed that I've lost over the years. Well, that went a little bit dark, didn't it? I like that. I am going to, just out of curiosity though, I am going to try wetting the brush. Now I don't like, because shimmers can go hard pan, you can go into the pan with a wet brush. I prefer to put the colour on the brush and then spray the brush, and then once I've done one eye, do it in the colour switch, dry it off on my hand, and then go in again for the second eye, because it can make any hard pan worse. I'm going in with this Makeup Obsession Pigment Boost. Now you can use that as a fixing spray as well, but I've got other fixing sprays that I feel last longer on my, or extend my makeup further than that one does, but this is good as a pigment booster, which I suppose is, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It has given a little bit more, hasn't it? Or at least it seems to be in my mirror and my viewfinder. It looks a little bit more metallic. So, let's repeat that for the other eyes. We're not lopsided. Yeah, it definitely gives it a more metallic sheen when you wet the brush. But either way, whether you put it on wet or dry, it really is a lovely colour. And now I'm just going to use this brush again. I'm going to pick up a wee bit of curfew just on the tips of the bristles and just gently smudge over where amethyst and curfew meet, just to, because obviously we're not doing a cut, although this does look like a cut crease, it's not actually a cut crease, so I don't really want such a harsh line now. I kind of want it to blend more into the, I really like that. There aren't really any shades in there that I would use as a highlight, so I am going to grab my, oh, would be right at the bottom of the pile, wouldn't it? Jeffree Star Platinum Ice palette. If you hear an almighty crash followed by a bleep, that's me dropping my eyeshadows and then swearing. Right, I've got Lavender Snow in the full size, but I wanted to go into the palette instead and use it from here. You can see it's a really beautiful palette. If I get it so you're not getting dazzled, you've got Lavender Snow, which is the purple, Glacier Ice, which is a bluey silver, Ice Cold, which is the pure white, Alien Ice, which is the green, pink, Chill, I can never remember the name of that one, which He says it's more of a blush topper and it's not as intensive, but I can get it intense. And Canary Bling, which is like a soft yellow. So, I'm actually going to pick up Pink Chill for underneath my brow. See, there is nothing not highlightery about that shade. Not highlightery. My grammar is appalling today. I do apologise, folks. I obviously need to have more coffee. Do you know what? I was going to go in with Lavender Snow on the corner of my eyes, but I think I might go in with Pink Chill. I quite like the look of that under the brow. So let's go in with a bit of Pink Chill on the inner corner, and then just run that along to meet our mulberry. Is it mulberry? Yeah. And repeat on this side. Nice. Now, for the other highlightery bits on my face, I'm going to use this sort of brush. Because the Jeffree Star Skin Frosts are so finely milled. Let me zoom you out so you can actually see what I'm doing. They're so finely milled and so kind of satiny that they can get hard pan very easily. It's something that a lot of people moan about because they then say, well, I can't get any colour up. You can if you use a brush like this. If you try them with a fan brush, you won't. But by using a denser brush, you can actually still pick colour up. Right, this is what he calls a blush topper. Ready? Do you see that? Do you? Is that not blinding? Is that not beautiful? No idea what that voice is. I normally use that when talking to dogs. Hello, beautiful. Every dog in the vicinity suddenly starts howling. But yeah, I mean, you can see that when Jeffree says something is a bit subtle, what he means is it's subtle for him, or as far as his skin frosts go. It doesn't mean it's going to be subtle when you actually apply it, which suits me fine because, you know, I like to dazzle. I like to dazzle the gods so they don't know what I'm up to. Right, now I put a video up recently where I did coloured liner and lashes, and I'd actually done it kind of impulsively. Actually, I just decided I was going to do coloured liner, but I'd already said, right, I'm going to go off camera and do my liner and lashes so the video's not too long. And then I had people say, oh, I wish you'd done that on camera so I could actually see how you'd done it. So, I'm going to do it on camera so you can see how I've done it. Now, I tend to use this angled brush. If you don't have one of these, it's really not an issue. You can buy like little disposable ones, like they use when you go and get your makeup done at a makeup counter, and they're really quite cheap on eBay and Amazon, so you know, you don't have to spend a fortune. Now the question is, do I want a pink wing or do I want a blue wing? Pause the video, ding 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 ding, and have a guess down below which one I'm going to use. Have you guessed yet? Have you? Let's see if you're right. Let's zoom you right in. Now, what I do is I put on my Pokemon phone case, I just put, using the doe foot applicator, I just put some lipstick on there basically, and then use the angled brush to apply said lipstick to my eye area. Now, not all liquid lipsticks are eye safe. Jeffrey's range are. The FDA says that his pink and red ones aren't, only because there's a possibility they could stain the skin. But in Europe, they're okay. Did you guess right? I'm using Prom Night. Now with this, what I do is I aim for the end of my eyebrow and to the corner of my eye and decide roughly how long I want my wing to be. And then go to the middle of my eye here and start to do the actual liner. Obviously getting it a little bit thicker as I go towards the wing. And then come down from the tip of the wing. This is where I have issues because obviously my skin on my eye folds. So I will admit sometimes I do this, which I don't really advise because you're just continuing to stretch your skin. You can do it in kind of like segments, but although I'm a Taurian with infinite patience, I'm aware that people watching me may not have infinite patience or infinite time. So today, just to speed things up, I am going to stretch the skin out a bit. Now obviously it does take a little bit of finessing because it's a liquid lipstick, not an eyeliner. But that being said, you can see how easy it is to apply. And then go to the very tip of the wing and just sharpen it up a little bit. How effective is that? Right, now it's time to do exactly the same thing on the other eye. The difference being, of course, let me just show you this. That's the lippy on there. Where did my Ujima flip go to? There it is. My Ujima flip is the thing that holds my bristles close together on the liner brush. I forgot I'd rested it on there. Like, the difference being with this side, of course, is I can actually close it. But it's exactly the same procedure. Aim for the end of the brow, decide how long you want it, go down to the corner. Yes, I'm aware of that, don't worry. Then go to the middle of your eye. Now I can't go right to the corner of my eyes because of all these creases here, because it will just flow straight up. So I actually have to kind of start from here. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to do a liner and talk at the same time? But I am trying to explain what I'm doing as I go. So you can see it's actually a lot easier when you can close your eye. to do this. But, as I've already explained, that's not an option with the other eyeball. But that's why I do this eye first, because it's much easier to match this wing to this one, because I can close this eye. And then literally just draw a straight line down to pretty much the middle of your wing, middle of your eyeball. And just bring that colour down. And again, you can, if you need to, but because I can actually close this eye, doing that and raising my eyebrow stretches it out normally far enough for me on this eye for me not to have to pull it, and you can see that's pretty much identical now. Just need to go back up to the tip. And tidy it up. So that, folks, is how I do a colourful liner using a Jeffree Star liquid lipstick. And because I've done that, I thought I might as well do the whole hog and show you it as lashes as well. It's not a rabid cat, it's my phone alarm, reminding me it's medication time. So as soon as I finished filming I shall go and take some pain relief. Right, I'm just using a face wipe to get any excess off of the brush, and then popping it back into its little plastic sheath to keep the bristles nice and compact, because obviously you need them compact in order to do a nice straight line. Now, as well as those little disposable eyeliner pens, pencil type things, you can buy packs of spoolies. And you can buy the spoolies in all kinds of different shapes. I personally like this kind of shape, kind of like a Christmas tree where it comes up smaller at the tip. And you can see they're nice and bendy. So then what I'm going to do is dip this into the lipstick. And then obviously it does cover the, so I do tend to wipe the wand off, because otherwise I have a habit of wiping it on my nose and looking like an extra from the Adamant Prince Charming video. Now if you're using a coloured mascara, it's really important to do the top of your lashes first. And then coming underneath, wiggling it, rolling it, and blink through. So let's wiggle it to the base of the lashes, roll the brush slightly, and then blink through and lift the brush up through your lashes. See? And obviously we'll add a little bit to our bottom lashes as well, because, well, why not? What's that I was saying about going out with neon pink and neon blue? As you can see, I'm one of the people that does that. Admittedly, this may not be work appropriate. Just depends whether you're customer facing and what dress code regulations your company has. But this is great when you get the, you can get some lipsticks that kind of almost glow in the dark, and if you use that as liner, lashes and lippy, it's such a dramatic look. But you do this at your own risk. You have to be sure yourself that they are eye safe. Like I said, the only ones I do it with are the Jeffree Stars, because I know that they are all eye safe. Because it said they're all eye safe, apart from these ones that contain any red dye, so the pinks and the reds. I suppose the purples to a certain extent. Because there is a possibility they could stain the skin. But then that's true of some of the pressed pigments in the Blood Sugar palette. And this, the Garnier Micellar Water, takes any staining right off. So, and you know, I wear makeup most days, and it's rare for me not to have a wing. So I don't really care if it stains, because I'm probably going to put a black wing over it tomorrow. In the EU it's different. In the EU he could have sold the Blood Sugar palette as an eyeshadow palette rather than a palette of eyeshadows and pressed pigments. Because over here, even if it stains your skin, it's still approved for use. You just have to put a warning that it could stain your skin, so that people are aware. But I love doing this, just liner, lashes and lips all matching. Speaking of lips all matching, it's time to do the lippy. Now, I know a lot of people struggle doing liquid lipstick, so I'm going to show you my easy way. Alright, you start off by doing the inside. Let's see if I can zoom you in a little bit more without losing focus. I think that's probably the extent of it. God, those lashes look amazing. Right, do the inside of the bottom lip first. And then turn it sideways and use it to line your lip. So that's the bottom lip done. I don't normally re-dip, but I know I'm getting low on this one, so I did. Now, holding the dough foot like this, turn it to 45 degrees and do a short stroke on the inside of your cupid's bow, and then repeat it in exactly the same on the outside of the lip. This is a great way of enhancing your cupid's bow, or creating one if you don't actually have a very defined one. Okay, bring it back to centre, 45 degrees that way, and do exactly the same thing. We now have an M. So we turn the dough foot upside down and go from the corner of the mouth to the line we've just made. And then just fill in any lip that hasn't got any lipstick on it. Boom. So there you go. And you can see that is actually a really, really striking effect by having your lashes and your liner and your lipstick all matching. Right, I'm just going to dispose of this before I get it all over my top, because I'm wearing a white top and I'm a klutz, folks. just going to wipe this off of my little Pokemon thingy. And it's time for setting spray. Oh, right. I'm going in with the Rimmel hashtag Instafix and Go. In terms of drugstore or high street setting sprays, this one by Rimmel is the one that I've found extends my makeup wear the furthest. So, it's time to liberally douse our faces. Ready? And it smells like melons and cucumber. Now, most people would stop here. I'm a little bit extra, you can probably tell, and I'm not most people, and I like my makeup to stay put, so I continue. Well, that's lovely. It's so nice and refreshing in the summer as well. And now for my Peter Mon moment. I just love that man. silverdaddy.com. This is doing two things. Actually, it's doing three. One, it's making me look so elegant and such a lady. Two, it's drying my setting spray. And three, it's helping cool me off, because although I've got the fan on, it's actually blowing behind me so it doesn't whip my words away because I'm having to rely on the camera microphone. And I'm starting to get a wee bit warm, folks. Right, I'm going to go off camera, do something with my hair, and I'll be back for my sum up. Don't go anywhere. I'm back. As you can see, the cat ears remained, because I feel sassy, darling, sassy. Right, do I approve of this? Yeah, I definitely do. You're probably going to find a few more tutorials springing up with me using this, because there's so many colours I haven't tried yet. But the ones that I've tried today blended absolutely beautifully. I mean, you saw for yourself. Yes, the purples took a wee bit more work to blend, but they blended. Even the satin one that I put through my crease blended out absolutely fine. And then using a lipstick rather than an eyeliner to do my wing, again, no skipping, no dragging, didn't behave funny. So, do I think it's worth your coin? Yeah, definitely. I love the chocolate bar palettes. I've not got all of them because some of them are a little bit too neutral for me. But yeah, I do like those a lot. So that's 2 thumbs up from me. Well done, guys at Makeup Rev, or I Heart Revolution, this one. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, it'd be great if you could hit that like button, please, or comment, share. If you're not subscribed, why not? It's still free. You get to join in this madness every time I put a video up. So, you know, do subscribe. Hit that bell notification. If you have already hit it, double check it's still selected, because YouTube's been unselecting people, which is lovely of them. Thanks for helping smaller creators grow. So helpful of you. And they also now, when you click it, you've got 2 options. You've got some notifications or all notifications. So just be careful when you're clicking it to make sure it says all notifications. Otherwise, YouTube will decide you only want them every now and again, which from experience means you don't get any at all. So all that remains for me to say is stay fabulous. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.